Okay.
And you got to leverage a lot of resources, right? Your people, your teams, whatever you can, advisors, everybody to really believe in what you're trying to make, and have you give you that opportunity or create that opportunity to make that happen.
Well, that actually is an interesting thing because you mentioned that everybody sort of has to have a joint passion. How do you go about creating that in an organization? Because it's easy as sort of the founder or the CEO to have that passion because you're the guy who gets to most directly experience the benefit. But what about your rank and file employees? How do you get them passionate about creativity and thinking about new products that might help the firm?
Right. So now again, not every division in your company is going to have, they're not all going to be creating new products, but the key is, so I'll start off with your product organization, and then I will branch out into different other organizations, right? So beginning the product organization, of course, your job as a CEO is going to be hiring, great product engineers or product marketeers, who believe, first of all, in your visions. When you look for people, to hire, you have to have a sense of, what have they done before, and importantly, are they coming on board to really be, I would say, be equal or be sharing in your beliefs about creating this great company, around this product that you're creating. And I think it takes a lot of encouragement. It takes a lot. It takes almost. They have to have some skin in the game in the sense that they are also parties to this. And that happens through sharing. Your company in the sense of your shares, if you may. The stock options or giving them incentives to deliver great. New innovations. By providing carrots, if you may. So again. You got to incentivize your team, but I think ultimately if they come on board with the thought that let's build something great out of this. The product guys are always, as I said, they are the most passionate. They will go along for the ride, and they will continue doing that in as much as they are seeing results of what they're doing, and that's where you now bring in other teams into place, which is your sales teams.
Right.
How do you incentivize your sales guys so they are also as motivated as you are and your product teams are? And for that to happen, again, sales is incentivized mainly by, again, selling. And if you have something that you offer your salespeople that they can sell, and they can build stories around that, and they can tell the clients about how valuable this is. For their businesses, and you get that first 5 sales, where you really help them out together.
Right.
The product teams, where you do the product demos together, go see your clients together, etc. And so really handhold them, through your marketing approaches and your product team approaches, so that it's almost like, you're handholding the first 5 deals for your sales, and once they see that, this is making a difference in my customers' lives, and they're coming back and asking for more. At that point, the sales gets very energized because now you are going to be sharing those sales success stories, not only with other sales team members, but also with the rest of the organization. Say, hey, listen, now look, we got this first 5 clients. They are using our services. They're having their response from that. Let's drum roll, please. Let's talk about it. Share this story.
A building process.
It works. Always works. Because now not only you are encouraging or you're talking about your clients, but in the process you're talking about the sales teams who made that happen. So you are, in a sense, recommending and encouraging those players who did a great job of making that happen, and then in return you're also telling about the product teams. So it just feeds on itself, and I think before you know it, now the whole sales force is behind saying, hey, let's start selling this product now because this is really catching on. So, but you're right, it's a process. It's not overnight. These things can take, weeks to months to years.
Sure. Yeah.
As part of a leader, you got to have that patience in the sense of depending on what market you are in.
So vision is both what the product might be and how you're going to get it over the long term.
Exactly. You cannot, I mean, even with oGoing, if I come back full circle, I mean, I look at my business as over the next 5 years, these are the things I want to do, so I have some thoughts about what I want to do this year and then next year and so on and so forth. And obviously, as an innovator, you got to be able to change the course depending on what's happening in the marketplace. You got to be nimble to do that as well.
I hear you. I'd like to come back to something you mentioned a few minutes ago and follow this up a little bit further, because you talk about incentivizing employees, and you talked quite a bit about the importance of selecting the right people to begin with. Once you have people in place, at least for the short term, you're sort of stuck with who you have. Is there anything that you can do to enhance the creativity of the people that you have? And by the way, it's not just necessarily people who aren't that creative, but even creative people maybe. Are there things that you can do to get them to be more creative? Have you given any thought to that type of an issue?
Well, I mean, that's a classic question that a lot of organizations face. Again, creativity be taught, or is it in you? And after doing a lot of innovative products, through my own efforts and with my teams, and looking at what other companies do, I mean, definitely there is a culture that you can create within your company, which can be what I call a creative culture. And to develop that, it always starts at the top. And I always used to remember, some of the CEOs I used to work with, they were always going around, offices and, people, every time they are making those rounds, if you may. And one of the questions they would always ask is, what's the new idea today, or what is something new that you thought of today? And I think that simple question, just asking around the employees about, what are some ideas they are seeing, in the sense of whatever they are working on, or what they're hearing from the field, or what the customers are telling you, or what they're hearing from competition. To breed that culture where you bring forth ideas, so that it's not something that stays within, but it's something that gets shared. Mm-hmm. is very important, especially for a growing company, even once the company has grown to a certain point, because that's where they're going to be feeding the next new product that they're going to be creating. And it's not as simple, because you have to really create that culture, about telling stories, and as I said, going back to, every customer that you have is a story that you talk about. And, every new competitor, you sell against and you win, that's a story you talk about. So when, every new product that you launch, and as to how you thought about creating that product, that's a story you talk about. So, by doing that storytelling or sharing those best practices and insights, that's how you create that new culture, where, if you bring forth, new ideas or new thoughts or new ways of doing old things, you will be rewarded. So ultimately, it can be made a process, where you can create an idea machine, if you may, or an idea factory, where, have a place, a repository or what you may call it, a database where everybody is welcome to share their ideas. No idea is a bad idea or a stupid idea, as they say.
Yeah.
And then have a way to evaluate the ideas. So, have a team, which is what a lot of companies do, which will evaluate the ideas as they come in and then share everything, so keep it very open and transparent about how you evaluate things, without favoritism, and, doesn't matter where the idea comes from, everybody's ideas are equal. And I think ultimately you share the results, out of so many ideas, here are the top three, and now we're going to make a decision about which one we're going to be moving forward on. And I think when you create that culture, it really just takes off, because everybody feels that they're contributing, whether you're product teams or customer service or even as Mandela's, the back office, So, and I think, because sometimes they may have ideas about, how they can, create savings, if you may, for the company, right? So it's that, which a lot of Silicon Valley companies are getting more and more adept at nowadays, and that's probably why you see the results in the sense of not only the top line revenues but also